Welcome back to Piney's Kanto course. Last episode we beat Brock, and in this episode we aim to beat Misty. But first, we have some Pokedex completion to do in Viridian Forest. I'm Piney, and this is Piney's Kanto course. Backtracking from Pewter City, we begin catching some Pokemon for the sake of Pokedex completion. They are Weedle in red and blue, Pikachu in red, and Caterpie in red. I also head all the way back to Pallet Town to grab the town map, as I forgot it earlier, because we will not be able to come back here again until after we've made it to Cerulean City. I then move on to the next route, where there are a lot of trainers to fight. I end up running an entire Super Bowl's worth of trips back and forth to the Poke Center in Pewter. For the Dex, we catch Jigglypuff in red and blue, and Sandshrew in yellow, naming it Sandy and adding it to the team as Yellow's official third member. In red specifically, I forgot to do it for the other games, and it does come back to bite me. I then get everybody to level 15 for the Mount Moon coming up. With Sam the Squirtle learning Water Gun, Remy the Rattata learning Hyper Fang, and Norbert the Nidoran learning Poison Stick. All very useful moves. Right before heading into Mount Moon, I make sure to purchase a Magikarp from the sketchy guy in the Poke Center, becoming Yellow's fourth team member with the name of Gertrude. With that out of the way, onward to Mount Moon we go. What a long and arduous journey this turned out to be. Trekking our way through the mountain's rocky terrain, defeating trainer after trainer, it seems like everyone was in their element here. Charlie the Charmander got some super effective moves in on a few of the grass types, Mischief the Mankey and Sam the Squirtle demolished the rock types, Penny the Pikachu plowed through the flyers, and both the Butterfree decimated the poison types present here, learning Poison Powder and Stun Spore here, which are amazing status-setting moves. A few Pokemon evolved at this point as well. In red, Sam the Squirtle evolved into Wartortle, Norbert the Nidoran evolved into Nidorino. I then evolved it a second time into Nidoking almost immediately. In blue, Charlie the Charmander evolved into Charmeleon, and nothing evolved here in yellow, although I did use these trainers as an opportunity to switch train Gertrude. There were several new Pokemon to catch here as well, those being Geodude and Zubat in all three games, Paris in red and blue as I forgot for yellow. In red, I ended up adding Paris by the name of Pluribus to my team. Pluribus was caught because I need a good grass type to go up against Misty with, and my team in red lacks that coverage. After training Pluribus to level 15 as per the rest of my team, I headed back into the mountain. I soon discovered some members of an organization called Team Rocket. They were trying to steal people's Pokemon. I promptly kicked their butts. After sweeping through them, I got the choice of two fossils right before the exit of Mount Moon. I chose Helix in red and Dome in blue and yellow. On the way out of the mountain, I snagged a Geodude in red and named it Barak, filling out my team of 6 with Electric type resistor, because I kind of forgot that Nidoking does the exact same thing, but that's neither here nor there. As I was leaving in yellow, 2 additional Team Rocket grunts who looked suspiciously like Jesse and James from a certain anime accosted me and forced me to battle. I kicked their butts also. Mama didn't raise no loser. I say as I only made it out by the skin of my teeth in blue. Quickly doing some catching in Route 4 before I get too engulfed in the next section of the game, we snag Ekans in red and Sandshrew in blue. I also trained Barak the Geodude up to level 15, that way he's up to scratch with everyone else. There were no new Pokemon on this route in yellow, so I headed straight for Nugget Bridge. It's then time to take on the rival fight. In red, he opens with Pidgeotto. I then send out Norbert to Horn Attack it into Oblivion. He then brings out Abra, who we use as a way to give Pluribus some levels. He sends out Rattata, and we keep Pluribus out, managing to paralyze it before we switch into Spork Spearow to finish off the rat. Spork stays out for his Bulbasaur, subsequently making short work of it and defeating our rival. Opening with Pidgeotto again for blue, we open with Bo, setting a Poison Powder before switching into Neptune the Nidoran. Once Neptune gets too low, we switch into Charlie to hit the Bo with Ember until it goes down. His Abra 2 also falls to Charlie's Embers. Pepper the Pidgey comes out against his Rattata, getting it low but then getting knocked out. Charlie finished off the rat, and then only his Squirtle was left. Bo the Butterfree poisoned it and spammed Confusion, winning the fight. In yellow, he opens up with Spearow. We switch into Penny and Thundershock its wings off. Switching into Mischief for his Sandshrew, knocking it out with a few swift karate chops. Rattata was next, who fell victim to one of Mischief's signature low kicks, leaving just as Eevee, who Penny took down most of the way, before I switched into Sandy for Sandshrew to finish it off. After the Ravel fight, I grinded Sandy to level 15, as they were the only one on my party, except for Gertrude, not to have passed that threshold. It was then time to add a new member to the team, Vulcan the Bulbasaur, who I attempted to train up, but it proved too difficult for now, so I decided to switch train him on Nugget Bridge. Nugget Bridge is where I began to realize that Pluribus the Paris might not have been a great choice of team member. Switch training combined with constant runs back to the Poké Center were really affecting my confidence in Paris as a viable candidate to go up against Misty with. Spamming Stun Spore only goes so far. Other notable events that took place on this bridge include Vulcan learning Vine Whip, me accidentally deleting Confusion off of Bow in place of Sleep Powder because I kept spamming the A button, and Neptune evolving into Nidorina, and then Nidoqueen using a Moonstone I found. Now that Vulcan actually has a good attacking move, I took him back to my grinding spot and got him to level 15. I then decided to, in yellow only for some reason, get my party up to level 20, except for Gertrude of course. Here is where Vulcan evolved into Ivysaur. After fighting the final Nugget Bridge trainer, it's revealed that it was all a Team Rocket recruiting tactic. We thwart the grunt and move on. It's also at this point that Barak the Geodude gets removed from the party. I finally remembered that Norbert does the exact same thing, and I do not need two ground types on the same team. My bad. It's catching time! Here's the Horde. Oddish in red and yellow, Abra in red and blue, Bellsprout in blue and yellow, and Venonat in yellow. Now it's time to take a series of very specific steps in order to catch a Pokemon that was never supposed to be in the game. That's right, we're catching Mew. We take the Abra we just caught and put it in our party, performing the Trainer Fly glitch at this route over here. The next step is to fight the first trainer in Misty's gym and return to the route. Hey presto, Mew appears. I only do this in red because I do not have the patience to do this in all three games. But we have a Mew now, and that's what matters. Now, it happened off camera due to recording issues, but I received the gift Charmander from this route, naming it Chuck. I am well aware of what I said last episode about not having repeat Pokemon between parallel playthroughs, and I do still think I shouldn't. However, it's a free Charmander! It's then time to fight through yet another horde of trainers. This time, Remy the Rattata is pulling most of the weight for red, even evolving into Raticate. Also evolving here is Pepper the Pidgey into Pidgeotto. In yellow, this is where I switch trains Chuck a little bit. Meeting up with Bill at the end of the route, I fixed him up and received the SS ticket as a reward. It was now time to head down to the city and face Misty. But first, it's time to say goodbye to Pluribus. The fact is that Pluribus turned out to be useless for me, and when I looked at its moveset, it became clear that things were not going to get much better. Pluribus the Paris was a gamble that I took and lost. With my red team going back down to 4 members, I got everybody up to level 20 in both red and blue, evolving Spork into Fearow, and headed towards the gym. Remy the Raticate one-shotted her Staryu with Hyper Fang, and stayed out for the Starmie, unfortunately getting hit with a Bubble Beam and fainting. I sent out Spork to finish it off, and while they got close, Misty's Starmie obliterated them as well. The only option I saw was to send out Norbert the Nidoking and hope they could tank a Water Gun, which they did. One Horn attack was all that was needed to defeat Misty, scoring me the Cascade badge in red. As for blue, we opened with Bow, hit Poison Powder, switched into Pepper who spammed Gust until the Staryu was down and out. Starmie then proceeded to wipe out my entire team. To say that this thing is strong would be a severe understatement, but I'm not going to let one measly defeat get in my way. I headed to the PC, grabbed a Bellsprout, and trained it up. Moving on to yellow, Penny the Pikachu gets their gym debut by Thundershocking Staryu right in the face. Hitting Staryu with a Thunder Wave for paralysis as it came in, Penny managed to get a couple of good Thundershocks in before a critical Bubble Beam took her out of the battle. Now it's Vulcan's turn. A Leech Seed and a Vine Whip later, Misty is down and the badge is mine. Back to blue for a second attempt. Misty opens with Staryu, me with Bellsprout. I use Sleep Powder and start spamming Vine Whips. She brings out Starmie and this time I'm ready. I take advantage of Bellsprout's speed by spamming Wrap, but it isn't enough. Starmie starts dealing more damage than I'm willing to take and I'm forced to switch out, but not before landing a Poison Powder. I switch into Pepper, who lands a couple of quick attacks before they get taken out by a water gun. I send Bellsprout back out. They get insta-KO. It's Bo's turn. Bo tackles like there's no tomorrow, but eventually goes down to a tackle. Neptune is next, hoping they can tank like Norbert did in red. 2 hits and Neptune goes down, managing to land a single poison sting. It's Charlie or it's nothing. They barely survive a bubble beam, letting Starmie finally succumb to the poison powder that I planted at the start of the fight. Wow. What a stellar fight indeed. Next episode, I'm exploring the SSN and defeating the 3rd gym leader, Lieutenant Surge. I'll see you there.